That's not the right motivation.
What does it take to make a great world-class app today on one platform? Com.com or Evernote, whatever. I mean, just to scope out the 1.0. What is the number of collaborators, number of months to sort of get a solid 1.0 to market on one platform these days?
So I'll tell you what we do, which isn't everything, but we have a pretty tight filter on this. So we build things that we can get to market in a mainstream way in 12 to 18 months.
Okay.
So we're just not set up. It would be inefficient for us to do 5-year science projects because we have a lot of we're reusing a lot of people. We have a lot of experts that we have dedicated people for each project, but then we also have people that rotate amongst projects as they're needed.
Like a product manager or a designer?
Or like IP lawyers and writers and editors and user testers. Yeah, exactly. And then there's core dedicated teams. So everything we do is we try to, when it launches, launch it at a high production value. So like it doesn't feel like startup stuff. It feels good. It's thoughtful. It's professional.
I like the concept of taking out the 50% of what you spend in the first year that has nothing to do with the product.
90%.
Yeah.
Come on, like when we invest in things, right? Just when we invest, I mean, like me personally, and you as an investor in startups, like in entrepreneurs, like how much of the time when they're asking us for advice, are they asking about like what really matters, which is the product, versus how much of the time are they asking about, oh, how do I fill out this round? How do I fire my co-founder? How do I deal with board drama? How do I deal with this contract? All of that's the hard stuff.
Yeah, I put it at 50-50. I think they spend like half their time trying to raise money and hire people, and then they maybe can put their head down for 30 hours a week and build product.
I think it's more, but even 50 is a pretty good amount. So we take that out.
You unlock 30 hours of product. I mean, it's basically what you're saying.
And a lot of it is we have people that startups don't know exist, right? So I'll give you an example at Evernote, right? At Evernote, the night before we were going to launch it, we launched the free and the premium version at the same time. So we had, it was a freemium model. So we had the premium version on day one. The night before we were going to launch it, I remembered at like 3 a.m. that I forgot to decide how much to charge for the premium version. We just didn't set a price.
Yeah, that would be an oversight.
Yeah.
We're going premium.
Yeah. So
you sound like Apple News Plus or Apple Streaming. They're like, you're going to love it.
Yeah.
Here's some celebrities. We don't have a price. Disney yesterday is like $7.
Yeah. So we had to pick a price. So I called up some co-founders and we had a hurried discussion in the middle of the night, and we picked. It was $5 a month is what we picked because I was like, it was science. It was like $4 a month seems cheap. $6 a month sounds expensive. $5 a month, that's scientifically the correct price, right?
I like that alchemy, yeah.
And we did not change that price for 6 years, right? And for 6 years, I knew that we had the wrong price because I remember picking it at random at 3 a.m. So I knew that my chances of having that be the correct price are 0.
Yeah.
But we didn't know how to do pricing. And in those 6 years, by then, we had A/B tested everything else like a million times because we were good at that. But we didn't have pricing experts because pricing experts don't hang out at startups. So 6 years later, we finally hired the first person that actually understood how to do pricing. And I thought it was boring, but when it was explained to me how to do it, it's actually fascinating. So now I'm kind of a pricing expert. And then we started experimenting with the pricing, and we basically doubled our revenue without changing the product mix within 18 months, just by being smart about pricing. I've never met a startup that understands pricing theory, but 100% of products that are released ought to have gone through a pricing exercise before they're released. Yeah. So now we have people that do that for all of our stuff.
Yeah.
Same thing with IP. We have a dedicated staff that does IP.
This is like, you think about what Pixar did. They're talking to, and he talks about this in Creativity Inc., the person who's writing the story is going to a meeting with people who have made all the other movies.
Yeah.
And they're sitting in a room with 15 people talking about the different acts, the different character development.
Yeah.
And they're getting candid feedback, and that's the word he uses, on it. So just that candid feedback, I think, is going to work huge.
Look at, another myth. So I do a lot of work overseas, most of our business actually international, and even with Evernote, that was the case. And so I hear a lot of myths about Silicon Valley, and one of them is that, but Silicon Valley is really good because we know how to fail efficiently. Like, oh my God, no, we don't. Like, startups do not fail efficiently.
Yeah.
Like, if I'm a first-time startup founder and I get out of, YC and I raise a $3 million seed, like, $1 million into it, I could have convinced myself that it's a stupid idea, but I'm going to try to stay alive.
Yeah.
So I'm going to spend $3 million, and then I'm going to go back to my investors and get a bridge.
Yeah.
So I could have failed for $1 million, but I'm probably going to waste $5 million to fail. So it's very capitally inefficient.
Yeah.
And it's very emotionally inefficient because there's all these people, very talented people working in Walking Dead startups that everyone knows aren't going anywhere.
So many zombies.
So who fails well? Netflix, HBO. HBO, Netflix, they make hundreds of pilots a year.
Yep.
The pilots are very much like startups. They're very innovative. They're a combined
Sure.
team. They work really hard, 9 months, 12 months, whatever it takes. 100% of the pilots are technically excellent. Your HBO pilot will not fail because you used the wrong cameras and ran out of budget and got into a fight with the caterers.
Yeah.
They know how to do that. They don't make the amateur mistakes.
Yeah.
So
They don't put the wrong lens on.
Yeah.
They don't put the lens on backwards.
Right. Which is exactly why most startups fail, right? Most startup failures have nothing to do with their product. They fail because they're
They don't know
amateurs.
pricing, or they don't know customer how to talk to customers.
They don't know anything.
Right.
Except hopefully they're one thing, which they're brilliant at, but you can't just know one thing. You have to know 1,000 things.